It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. He's in Dallas, Texas. We forgive him, though, because he spends a lot of time right here in our own neck of the woods. He is George Seay, joining us this morning. George is a political analyst and also the Annandale Capital co-founder and chairman. And he has a lot of experience, especially in presidential politics, but just politics as a whole. And so we know that we can go to George and we'll get the answers here on this Liz Cheney mess that's going on. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. George, good morning.
Good morning. I would say I think it's easy to forgive Cowboys fans these days because the Steelers have had a lot more to be thankful for in the last 25 years than we have. We've been mediocre or worse for a long time, unfortunately.
See, we don't think of it that way. You're still the dreaded people with the stars on the helmet.
Well, I get that, but considering Pittsburgh is 2-1 against Dallas in the Super Bowl, I think that Pittsburgh's one of the few teams in the NFL we do not have a whole lot to brag about, I guess. So, anyway.
George, right now, the Republican Party is not bragging about much of anything. This Liz Cheney thing is a real mess, isn't it?
You know, I think maybe it's a tempest in a teapot for now, but I think it'll pass really quickly, and I'm really glad to see her go, to be honest. I don't blame her or it doesn't bother me to see her stand up after January 6th and say, this was a tragedy and un-American and borderline treasonous. I think that's all fair. But when 5 months later you're still talking about it and you're still talking about a man who hadn't been president for 4 months, it's time for you to go. You're a victim of Trump derangement syndrome and you're making it all about yourself. And Republicans should be about the future and an optimistic, positive vision for the country for the future. And she's not allowing that to happen because the leftist mainstream media is focusing on her because they love what she's saying, and it's a total distraction. And, McCarthy defended her once, and she survived a vote months ago, which she should have, I think, at that point. But I think at this point she needs to move on, and she will.
How quickly does it fade and allow the Republicans to focus on their efforts to gain back the House and the Senate?
I think the media will try to prolong this as long as they can, and I think they'll continue to interview her, and she'll continue to say unproductive things that really don't help the party or the country. But I think the country will move on real fast. I think that it shows how powerful the Cheney brand still is, that we're still talking about this stuff. And for me, who doesn't really care for career politicians or political dynasties, I think the sooner we move on, the better.
Is the Democratic Party just clapping their hands gleefully because this thing is dragging on, and are they going to do their best to continue to put this out front? Yeah,
they'll try to use this as a distraction against the horrific job performance they have so far in the Biden administration. I think that what's much more interesting is how we have inflation, we have gas shortages, we have border crises. We've got all sorts of bad stuff going on in the country and around the world, excessive spending, excessive debt. And I think it'll make it super easy to run against the Biden administration and the woke left, crazy left in the Congress right now. I think the American people are going to take a hard look at this and go, you know what, we like Joe Biden, and we're not sure about his policies. They may be a little too liberal for us, but that Congress is crazy, and we need to turn at least part of it back to the Republican Party so that they can weed out the stuff that's just nuts and save the country from bad public policy. I think that most Americans look at politicians as liabilities, and if we have divided government, nothing gets done, and I think the private sector likes that. I like that.
I recall talking to somebody from Washington involved in one of the campaigns. I think it might have been the presidential campaign last time, and they were talking about Democratic, and I put it out there to him, and he sort of agreed with me. Democrats tend to look at their party positions, and if there are differences of opinion or different philosophies about what direction to go, they'll still stick together. And Republicans tend to tear each other apart when you come to issues that are controversial or that at which they're at odds. Do you see that too?
I do. I think Democrats stick together like glue because what they're primarily focused on is acquisition and retention of power. That's their galvanizing, unifying force, and it's a powerful thing. And I think a lot of Republicans care more about their ideology than winning, and I think that's a huge mistake. And I have to say, I think Donald Trump did a lot of really, really good things, even though his personality was very divisive, but he hasn't helped in this matter. He's formed a whole lot of circular firing squads within the Republican Party, so I think that he's got lots of friends in that endeavor, but Republicans are needlessly divisive and split, and it's really dumb, frankly, in terms of winning elections.
Somebody on Mr. Kilmeade's show yesterday here on WCCS was talking to Brian Kilmeade and said, we really need to get beyond this Donald Trump thing because he's not going to be the nominee. And he was very firm in that opinion. And whether you believe that Mr. Trump is going to make a run for it or not, it really is very, very surprising how firm that grip is on some of the people in Washington. You almost get a fear from them about losing Trump supporters and therefore losing any chance at regaining power.
Yeah, it's funny how we got this complicated because I don't agree with him. I think that if Trump stopped the nomination, at least today, I mean, it may be different 3 years from now, that he'd win it for sure. I also think that if he did win the nomination next time around, he'd lose in the general election. I think there's too many people who've decided they never want to see him in public life again. I think we need somebody fresh, and I also think that 78 is too old to be president of the United States. Somebody, every time I say that, people raise up and go, "You're anti-old people. How terrible of you to discriminate against old people." But no, I'm not against old people. It's just the president of the United States is the hardest job in the entire world, and I think you need to be in your 50s or 60s with enough experience to do the job, but enough energy to carry it out for the good of the American people day to day. And I think that late 70s, early 80s, you're just too far along in life to be doing that job. I mean, there's lots of other things you can do, but you don't have to be president of the United States. And I think Joe Biden right now is proving that.
George Seay is with us this morning, political analyst, and also someone who was the finance chairman for Rick Perry's 2020 or 2012 presidential campaign, also a senior advisor for Marco Rubio in 2016. And that's an interesting couple of fellows with which you were involved there. George, take me 18 months, 2 years down the road. What is Liz Cheney doing? What is the Republican Party doing?
Well, if the Trumpinistas nominate 10 challengers to her in the primary in 2022, she'll win that, and she'll still be in Congress and still be a divisive figure. If they nominate one or two primary challengers to her, hopefully one, she'll be out of Congress and making a lot of money on the speaking circuit and writing books with her dad and things of that sort. I think the sooner we stop talking about the Cheneys, the better. I think it's time to move on from them. I appreciate their service to the country and their patriotism, but they've been in the dialogue too long. And I'm very hopeful that after 2022, we'll control the House or the Senate. And by we, I mean conservatives, and we'll be able to block the nonsense that's going on right now.
Well, there's certainly a lot to watch over the course of the next 6 months, let alone the next 18 to 24, but it's going to be really, really interesting. George Seay, thanks so much for being with us today. And I hinted to people that you do spend some time in this area. Over Ligonier, huh?
Yeah, I love that part of the country. It's unfortunately, we've got great people in Dallas, Texas, but we don't have pretty scenery, and your part of the country is one of my favorite parts of the whole country. The people are great. The scenery's great. And it's a real privilege to get to go up there. And it's been a real treat to be with y'all this morning.
I appreciate your time, and have a wonderful day there in Dallas.
Okay. Y'all have a great time up there. Thank you.
There's George Seay with us here this morning. It's the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.